No light, no road, no food for we plate. People are suffer while Andrew I live great. Hey, hey. You stand up on the platform, smile wide and proud. I tell we about prosperity, but we can't see it all now. Hurricane come through and left the people bare. 6 months later, them still out there, asleep under the air. Your GLP friends them build high rise, road still full of hope. I was pocket to a field while the nation lose its soul. Hospital overflow, picnic can't get fed. School roofs are leak, but you want Juliet well fed. You always have excuse, always pass the blame. Every time something wrong, it never go in your name. Jamaica a drown and you claim you don't clean. Niggas talking about politics, we ever see that? Time for the people. We say no, 10 years and we can't take no more. You know hear us, we are not on the door. Boldness, time for go, time for go. From Kingston to Lebanon, the people say so. We tired, we hungry, we done with the show. All this and time we go. Farmer can't afford to plant food, price reach the sky. You're bringing the poverty while your own people cry. We born ya, we grow ya, we bleed for this land. But Andrew at the top won't extend the man. You talk about vision, you talk about plan. But 10 years later, we still can't understand. Corruption report London, nobody charge. The people pocket small, but the scandal them large. Vote crack up parish council, bro. Country suffocate done and it just more. And when we raise revise up all we political. But the truth is the truth and the truth is biblical. Boys, time to go. Time to go. The people, they say no. We say no. 10 years and we can't take no more. You know hear us. We are not on the door. Boys, time to go. Time to go. From Kingston to Negri, the people say so. We tired, we hungry, we done with the show. We no want no speech. No speech. We want action, none of the lies you preach. Hurricane victims with another falling. Prime Minister flag and falling. The JLP got it full, but the people copy them. Oh, you live so large. One dance in a place, one dance. With fist, not with fire, but with voice. Them rising higher and higher. What's up, then? Parish every yard, every gate. Jamaica speaking and I'm not too late. Well, it's time to go. The people, them say no. 10 years and we can't take no more. You know hear us. We are not funny no. Oh, it's time to go. From Kingston to Negri, the people say so. We tired, we hungry, we done with the show. Oh, it's time to go. This one is for every Jamaican. Every one of them. We can't afford feet. Yeah. We are sleep on cardboard. We are drive on broken road. The people don't forget. The people don't forgive. Enough is enough. Jamaicans will live. Ladies and gentlemen, a late night, I'm gonna feel like turn on the camera. You understand what I deal with? So I hope you don't feel no way the camera is off on purpose. I'm asking you guys to like up the video, share up the video, tell me where you guys are watching from. I see one Debs in a place a while ago, I don't know. I walk on, come like Debs cut. Come like Debs cut. I see as a top mother, Selvanev, where you deal with? Selvanev no match no play today. No match no play today. Pani FIFA. I walk on, them take a day off. And we know say you're the football man, you know. Yeah man, on the top up the screen for many people. TikTok, you know say I don't go live late. A long time I don't go live late. So for you see me live, you must know. You understand? Tuesday are semis. Oh, what are semis, man? Spain and France, Argentina, England. Them the semis they hot, you know. Them the semis they hot like a 10 fireside. Me still try to find out if Spain no goal score for Spain from the World Cup start. No man, I want to know, man. I want to know what go on. But we have to play that one if you enjoy again.
Builders don't imagine a business.
That video you have to go play again for those who hear for the first time and would never hear that video. So you see all the people when come and watch me and when they in the shadows and not say nothing. When go on in the shadows while me in the shadows. Don't say good evening and don't say good night or good morning. When you stay in the shadows same way, yeah? I bet say when I'm going to start commenting in the comment section, as soon as I go do my live them, I'm going to come live and I'm going to show myself. I'm going to turn off my camera. When you can hear what I say and get the message quite easily. And it's going to be ending up to be the same thing. So, since as nobody don't want to honor me by telling me good evening and good night, we're going to start come on and just do the class like this. Oh, my son. And then when you look the video when I post, we have the details of whatever one of the here so you can see. You understand? Oh my son, I try some new thing, ladies and gentlemen. I try some new thing, but let's go into this video. Somebody call and Jonas and tag me, man. I gotta remind him, because time are coming up.
Blessed morning, one and all. This is your apostle, Elijah Peter Chambers, with a word, a prophetic word, and visions that the Lord gave me last night. It's imperative that I...
And this is February 12, 2024. So last night would that be February 11th or February 10th, depending upon when you get to post the video. But somewhere around February, early February 2024.
Sure.
You know, say as a matter of fact, I gotta post a video, you know. Yeah, man, I gotta post a video. I gotta post a video. So let me find my microphone. Let me find my microphone. In a real life. Yeah, I'm gonna do some recording in the night, yeah. Zine. No, look a joke. So I just get it like this. Start it up, go and play the bad song in the meantime, between time.
10 years, you say. 10 long years and look how Jamaica stay. No light, no road, no food, pan we plate.
That's it, my side. Tap it. Like and share up the video.
You stand up on the platform, smile wide and proud. Everybody prosperity, but we can't see it all now. Hurricane come through,
Yeah, full enough.
the people here. 6 months later, them still asleep on the
Report security now.
friends them build high rise, road still full of hole. A whose pocket do I feel while the nation lose its soul? Hospital overflow, picnic can't get bed. School roof a leak, but you and Juliet well fed. You always have excuse, always pass the blame. Every time something wrong, it never go in your name. Jamaica a drown and you claim you're unclean. Biggest actor in our politics we ever see. Wholeness, time to go, the people. We say no, 10 years and we can't take no more, you know you're us. We are not Pamido. Wholeness, time to go. From Kingston to Level, the people say so. We tired, we hungry, we done with the show. Wholeness, time to go. Farmer can't afford to plant food, price reach the sky. You're bringing the poverty while your own people cry. We born ya, we grow ya, we bleed for this land. But Andrew at the top won't extend the man. You talk about vision, you talk about plan. But 10 years later, we still can't understand. Corruption report land and nobody charge. The people pocket small, but the scandal them large. What's crack up parish council, bro? Country suffocating and it just more. How when we raise the voice of call, we political. But the truth is the truth and the truth is biblical. Time to go, the people.
Yes, I know.
We say no, 10 years and we can't take no more, you know, hear us. We are not body door.
Time to go.
Time to go. From Kingston to Negril, the people say so. We tired tired, we hungry, we done with the show. All less our time we go. We no want no hype, we no want no speech.
No speech.
We want action, no, not the lies you preach. Hurricane victims still under tarpaulin. Prime Minister fly gone foreign. Your JLP cabinet full, but the people COVID empty. Oh, you live so large when we live in so scanty. Not with fists, not with fire, but with voice. Them rising higher and higher. From every parish, every yard, every gate. Jamaica speaking, and I'm not too late.
But all less time to go.
Time to go.
The people, them say no.
We say no.
10 years and we can't take no more, you know, hear us.
We are not by the door.
All less time to go.
Time to go. From Kingston to Negril, people say so. We tired, we hungry, we done with the show. All this our time to go. This one is for every Jamaican. We can't afford feet. We are sleep on cardboard. We are drive on broken road. The people don't forget. The people don't forgive. Enough is enough. Jamaicans will live.
Enough is enough, man. Enough is enough, ladies and gentlemen, alright? Enough is enough. That is it. I have to tell it like it is, you know. Can't sugarcoat nothing. Alright. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the platform. It's your brother BOLO TBV, wherever you are in the world. I encourage you guys to subscribe to the page. What you waiting on? What you waiting on? This is the page right here. You should be a part of the family. Oh, by the way, join the membership. Yes, the memberships are available, right? The donation information is always available if you choose to do so, whether in the description or the pinned comment. All right? Yeah, man. So, God bless you. All the supporters out there that watch the videos, like the video, and comment on the video to let YouTube know that you guys are not robots, but you are real persons, not AI. All right? Now, in this one, ladies and gentlemen, we have Pastor Peter Chambers, man of God, the apostle, and of course, this video was February 12th, 2024. And honestly, I forgot about this video. Thank God that it came across my timeline. Sometimes, you know, I need these references and I have to write them down, because sometimes I forget where the prophecies are laid. This one is directly targeting the Prime Minister's demise in terms of his kingdom falling. Thus saith the Lord, and all the evildoers that are a part of his kingdom, whether they are in the church or they're an overman. Let's get into it, ladies and gentlemen.
A blessed morning, one and all. This is your apostle, Elijah Peter Chambers, with a word, a prophetic word, and visions the Lord gave me last night. It's imperative that I share what God reveals to me. And these were the words, the end of Andrew Michael Oldness. The end of Michael Andrew Oldness. While I was washing some clothes in the laundry, the Lord says to me, Peter, this will be the end of the Prime Minister of Jamaica, the present Prime Minister of Jamaica. When I, the Lord, removed him, in his very kingdom are ex-PNP comrades who started a rebellion in the PNP party and fled. They are the very ones who will rise against him in his kingdom. So what the Lord is showing me, that there are people who have rebelled from the opposing party and went to build the kingdom of the Prime Minister. While these ex-PNP supporters and comrades left the PNP party for greener grass in the JLP party, they all left because of money and greed. This person, along with some of the JLP candidates, will take you down, says God. They all will turn against you, says God.
My God.
All will not be well after God remove you from your seat and your possession, says the Lord. From 2020, I, the Lord God, removed your crown. So you were functioning without your crown.
Wow.
But I gave you time to make it right with God. Even as God gave Jezebel time to repent and she refused to repent. You were given that chance. When my judgment begins, you will call for Pastor Peter Chambers as it was revealed by a sister who did a video from England. Everyone who is close to you will reject you, says God. Even your wife will be influenced by close persons to leave you. The punishment will be so great that no human being is worthy of such punishment. But you never listen to my prophets when they spoke to you. The Lord spoke to me. You know your time is up, and God is taking judgment. Not even your gunmen, your obeah and women, your warlocks, your witches, your international leaders, your supporters can't help you, and they all will burn in the lake of fire for the evil they have done to the nations and God's people. The man you lied, fabricate, build an allegation with your evil ones will be the man that I have assigned to pray for you. Thus said the Lord. All those who have been praying for you because of favor, political favor, and the love of your party, I have not listened to their prayers. And I, the Lord God, will prove it to you all and the nation and the citizens of Jamaica. Hear ye the word of the Lord and Jamaica wholeness. The very death you have assigned for my servant in March 24, 2021, 5 a.m. It will be bestowed unto you, says God. And all of those who were a part of the evil plot to kill my servant, Pastor Peter Chambers, one by one, they will die a great severe death. Their children and their generation will be punished for the innocent that they have murdered under your rulership. Hallelujah, says the Lord God of Israel. There will be such weeping when I take your kingdom down. Even the so-called political Christians will die when your crown falls from your head. Many will declare, I'd rather die. Some will commit suicide. God, Jesus. Some will sleep off, which means death. This is the future of a love leader who have failed the people and the God. Jesus have mercy. All the pastors who were your friends, they will go down, and some will die, says the Lord. Last night as I wrote and listened to the voice of God, tears streaked from my eyes. Listen, when God get ready, not even your obeah man can help you. Not even your supporters. Not even the gunmen that are connected to your kingdom. The sorcerers, they will go down. All the pastors who were your friends, they will go down, and some will die, says the Lord. Some will become sick unto death. And those who have mocked my servant, God will mock them to their graves. Even in hell, they will be mocked by Satan. Hear ye the word of the Lord. Thus said the Lord. Then the Lord brought me in a vision where, when the judgment has begun, politicians in the JLP party will be going to prison. I saw where the Lord showed me that international and national police, feds, putting handcuffs on prominent politicians. Some will serve the rest of their life in prison. Some will be sick unto death. Some will be placed into wheelchairs, confessing their sins they have brought upon the people of Jamaica. The Obia men and women of the present Prime Minister will die a terrible death. Hear ye the word of the Lord. Artibas. This is a word from the heavens. Thus said the Lord God, they will find you dead in one of his expensive hotels where he does his sorcery. Simon, you will go down. All the men, Obia men and women connected to the Prime Minister and Jamaica. Thus said the Lord, you will go down. The Baal gods shall go down, says the Lord God Almighty. God says he will die a terrible death. The Obia men who are connected to the graveyard, one day they will find them dead. Lightning will strike one of them and kill one, and the hand of God will remove another until the Lord God has removed the Baal gods in the land of Jamaica. After this judgment, Jamaica will experience a great revival. Thus said the Lord. Hallelujah. And Daniel chapter 3 verses 28 says, and all this came upon the king Nebuchadnezzar, and all the ends of the 12 months he walked in the palace of the kingdom of Babylon. Hallelujah. The king spake and said, is not this great Babylon that I have built for the house of the kingdom by the might of my power? Here kept Nebuchadnezzar bragging, and for the honor of my majesty. While the word was in the king's mouth, there fell a voice from heaven, saying, O king of Nebuchadnezzar, to thee is spoken the kingdom. Thy kingdom is departed from thee. They that drive thee from the men, and thy dwelling shall be with the beasts of the field. They shall make thee eat grass as an oxen, and 7 times shall pass over thee, until thou know that the Most High rule in the kingdom of men, and giveth it to the whosoever he will. The same hour was the thing fulfilled upon Nebuchadnezzar, and he was driven from men, and did eat grass and oxen, and his body was wet with dew of heaven, till his ears were grown like eagle's feathers, and his nails like bird claws. Listen, this is the end of the Prime Minister of Jamaica. And God spoke to me. I know some of you are going to come for me, but listen, God said you're going to go down. You're going to die. You're going to experience the judgment to come. The loved leader of Jamaica has turned against the people, and he has turned against God. And for this, his punishment will be great. Last night, as the Lord gave me the revelation, and I began to write. Here it is, I wrote it. Hallelujah. Tears. My heart was in pain. And the Lord said, Peter, it doesn't matter what you do. My decision is final. And all of you who said that I was false and fear, you will see the judgment. Thus said the Lord.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. All right, that was pretty clear. Please to remember again to like and share. Don't keep this to yourself. You know, some of the things them that he said there was very interesting, you know. Like, one of them that stood out to me was the People's National Party rebellious crew that left from the People's National Party and went over to the JLP. They are going to be integral in taking Andrew down where politics is concerned. Very interesting. You know, and more seriously, you know, him not listening to the voice of God and his servants of the Lord and not following those steps has gotten him into a place now where nobody can't even pray for him. You know, all those persons that say them they are church and them are Christian and they support you know, the Prime Minister and praying all type of prayer, it's not going to help. Thus say the Lord. So, you know, all of you pastors and so forth that is associated with the Prime Minister, you guys are in hot water as well. The Bible says, "One to those who know the right and say it's wrong, and know the wrong and say it's right." You understand? So, trouble. trouble ahead, ladies and gentlemen. This was 2 years ago, but you know, the Lord's word is never void and it shall come to pass. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section, alright? Now, somebody sent me something very interesting, ladies and gentlemen. Something that I didn't even know about. I'm like, whoa, what is this? I'm like, wait a minute, what is this? Let's go to it. Oh. Right here. Yeah, let's go to it. Take off them two personally off from the screen. Well, only can't see it still, but me I see it.
Yeah, as a system, in the amount of speaking time. No, man, I could have done that, but I didn't. I didn't reduce the opposition's time.
Well, yes.
I mean, there are lots of provisions within the standing orders that protect
Right.
the
But
role of the
what happens
opposition.
when
So
you get to a system, Sean, where it is a two-party government, meaning government and opposition, and there is no real minority group? The opposition.
well, I mean, the official opposition becomes you know, by virtue of not being the government, is that smaller group. So it's not necessarily 2 or 3 people, although it might be, but.
All right, so now I understand what is going on here. Beth, how are you, darling? I'm big up. Me don't want to forget to call anybody will heal me up in our chat. I'm gonna see them more to make sure some heal them up. Sharp boss, big up yourself. All right, so this is wow. Let me just get the timestamp. Let me get the timestamp because I am a bit. Yeah, this is new to me. I want to shout out to calligrapher. Oh. Alright, so I got it now. What's the timestamp? 109. Cash code. Yes. Make run some quick game them, general. Yo. Run some quick game there. Come on. Alright, my side. Don't bless up the tap up the screen for me damn things, see? So as me I say now, me never did catch this now. What the timestamp carry say again? 1 hour and 9 minutes. 1 hour and 9 minutes. Oh, me missed this. Alright. Alright, so ladies and gentlemen, welcome. This is the House Standing Order Committee, and this is the Speaker of the House. And somebody sent this to me. They're saying that the Speaker of the House was showing her ignorance about traditional definition and not the Jamaican definition. Zane, and goes on to say the drafter being gentle with her. So, make we listening upon this. Sure. Oh man, I messed up, y'all. I'm sorry. Like and share the video. It's a brother both of you and I. People tap up the screen if you can't give on a gift. I'm saying the Speaker of the House here is at a standing House committee. And she have a guest that is on Zoom. And somebody sent the link to me and said they noticed that nobody did not cover this. And I want to say thank you. I'm going to listen to it now to see what you're talking about, because apparently Juliet Onus was kind of ignorant towards traditional definition and not the Jamaican definition. So let's listen to it. No, sir, something wrong. Somebody sent me this, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know what the fullness of it is that's going on, but apparently Juliet Onus kind of exposed herself a little bit. So let me just tap into this, like I share the video. Let's see what's up with it.
And I had a practice when I just became Speaker of giving significant deference to the opposition. Yeah, absolutely. No, I can tell you. Whether or not they felt it, knew it, or understood or appreciate it. And I'm going to give them specific examples. This current budget debate, this Sean, I would want to make sure that we also clarify Jamaica is a little different. We have two-party system almost.
Yeah,
Many
yeah.
of the other countries have several minority parties.
Yeah.
And I think we need to be very specific about that, because I hear the question, and I had a practice when I just became Speaker of giving significant deference to the opposition. Yeah, absolutely. No, I can tell you. Whether or not they felt it, knew it, or understood or appreciate it. And I'm going to give them specific examples. This current budget debate, the standing orders allow about 75% of the amount of time allowed for the government, for the opposition to respond. In this last debate, it was 50-50. As a matter of fact, by the time we were finished, I gave more time to the opposition than the government, but they would not have appreciated same unless it is said to them. And I took that stance going along. But as a system, as a system, in the amount of speaking time, no, man, I could have done that, but I didn't. I didn't reduce the opposition's time.
I mean, there are a lot of provisions within the standing orders that protect
Right.
the role of the
What happens
opposition.
when
So
you get to a system, Sean, where it is a two-party government, meaning government and opposition, and there is no real minority group? The opposition.
well, I mean, the official opposition becomes by virtue of not being the government is that smaller group. So it's not necessarily 2 or 3 people, although it might be. But, I mean, these things are slightly different in the UK now, but for all intents and purposes, it's been a pretty solidly kind of two-party system for a long time, Conservative and Labour, and things go up and down in smaller parties, and we do have them. But you still have this official opposition, and it's the roles and rights of the official opposition, and that is throughout these standing orders very clear, where they need to be consulted, where they need to be, so it's really clear throughout that.
Very clear.
I mean, arrangement of debate, and I think maybe this is not necessarily for the procedure committees. I think we've talked about this a lot when I was at the seminar, and also we were talking about it now. But that's very much about a kind of a culture discussion about when you disregard standing orders, how long people take. There's standing orders can only do so much. Standing orders will never, they can't make people, particularly when you can disregard them and you're willing to do so. They're not the fix-all problem, but the point of this exercise was to remove them from being another potential problem, if that makes sense. So you're debating less about the standing orders because they're clear and everyone's agreed on them. Time limits is a different.
Hold on. That's important. What you just said a while ago is important. The standing orders is not a what that? I don't know. I can't play that, brother. I don't know what that, brother. Me I do work right now. I can't play that. I'm sorry. So anyway, I'm going to turn down this because this is a problem now. It's getting a reaction. What may I say, ladies and gentlemen, alright? This thing here, when I say a while ago about the standing orders, it's not a fix all. It go back to when me hear the People's National Party say, because the man them say, them understand the system to be that you have to have an agreement with it. It's not something to give an advantage to anybody or something to make the parliament run smoothly and fairly. So because she take it to a bias level now, herein lies all of the problem. And play that again. This is very interesting. I never saw this. I want to thank Calligrapher.
Arrangement of debate, and I think maybe this is not necessarily for the procedure committees. I think we've talked about this a lot when I was at the seminar, and also we were talking about it now. But that's very much about a kind of a culture discussion about when you disregard standing orders, how long people take. Standing orders can only do so much. Standing orders will never, they can't make people, particularly when you can disregard them and you're willing to do so. They're not the fix-all problem, but the point of this exercise was to remove them from being another potential problem, if that makes sense. So you're debating less about the standing orders because they're clear and everyone's agreed on them.
You're debating less about the standing orders because it's clear and everybody agrees on them. The standing order shouldn't be a hindrance of the parliament running smoothly. But she makes it that way. She makes it that way.
Time limits is a difficult one because, as you say, you set a time limit and that becomes the ceiling, and then people push up and up. There are different ways of doing it. I mean, in the UK, for example, there is a little bit of an understanding of how long people speak for, but what will generally happen is the speaker will set a time limit for everyone. Now, that's different, and it's not something that would happen, but they might say, everybody, I can see there's 30 people in here, and we've got however long, so I'm going to give everyone 5 minutes, or 10 minutes, but 50 minutes. But that's a different system, and that's a big change. So that's where you kind of, as a procedure committee, you can think about how you want that to operate. But again, it also relies on people is sticking to those time limits. So yeah, it's again that point around how far can standing orders actually go. They could only go so far, but then it becomes a decision for the members of the House as to how they want to conduct themselves vis-a-vis those standing orders.
We have some more intervention, Sean, when you have a chance. Member Buchanan, then Malahoo Fort, then Member Brownberg.
Thank you, Sean. I'm bringing your attention to clause 25, which is a new insertion. That would be the sub judice clause.
Yeah.
Now, there is a definition of sub judice in the definition section, and it simply says for the purpose of standing orders, and I'm going to assume it says XX, but whichever one, it refers to a matter that is before the court and awaiting adjudication. Now, the problem I'm having is we have not codified, but what is understood to be the doctrine of separations of powers. Yeah. So sub judice, as I understand it, the object and purpose of the sub judice rule is that the litigant may be affected because the matter would be going before a jury. What happens here, and the court has pretty much decided on what sub judice when it is that you breach a sub judice rule, and if matters are going before judges in civil jurisdiction, then those matters would not be sub judice unless a judge indicates that you're not to speak on the matter. But certainly, there's in clause 25, it sets out for the purposes. It defines sub judice differently, and I'm wondering if it's to be called that because it's not operating as sub judice, and it actually weakens the power of the court. It sends a message that judges are influenced by matters outside. When we have rulings that is distinct, judges say Parliament can conduct their affairs as long as it's not repugnant to the Constitution, as well as the judges, they rule as if nothing is happening. The court of public opinion, it is assumed and perceived that when judges rule, they're not affected by outside influences. Yeah. So it kind of sends. So I need to know whether or not the doctrine of separations of powers was considered here, because it appears to be, well, my submission to you or to the host is that it's a bit problematic. If it's something we should revisit.
I take your point, and I think, again, this is one of the areas I highlighted on the way through, because it's one of those areas that you're wanting to discuss. What you have in front of you in the main thing, and I think the definitions, they can change, but I'd focus on the main orders. That is, give or take, the kind of UK approach, but with regard through discussions to what I consider to be the Jamaica domestic context. If I take what you're saying correctly, it's that there's sort of an assumption that they wouldn't be influenced, and so it's not a problem, and it need not necessarily be said. And apologies if I've misunderstood you. I think this is about what Parliament does. So this is Parliament saying to itself, we will not. So we're demonstrating our respect to the separation of the courts, that we won't seek to unduly influence. I wouldn't say that it suggests that they would be, but equally, it just removes that possibility. So they shouldn't provide the opportunity to comment on something that's ongoing in the courts, because it could fuel speculation, or you could be using politics to, even if it doesn't change the judge's opinion, to influence public opinion about what that opinion would be if you're anticipating you're not liking it. So again, these rules aren't aimed at anyone in particular, but this is a pretty standard provision that's used in many jurisdictions, and it's one that I put in there. But similarly, it's one that would definitely need to be discussed for people who have, considerably more experience, to say the least, of your domestic context and how that works. So again, I think, as I've said, I've presented what I think is a workable, clear best practice, but it is for the House to regulate, and you are, in this context, the House and can discuss that. So hopefully I was clear in what you were
There's a
suggesting.
follow-up from Member Buchanan, and then a follow-up from Member Green.
Thank you. You were, Sean, it's just there is the constitutional implication. Because I don't know if it was considered that as it is
Yes,
written,
my darling.
it is just clear in breach of the charter.
All is well. I'm just
going
through some
It's not
some content.
So I was going to say it's not something that I intended to do.
Right.
It may have been an accident that arises from my lack of understanding of the Jamaican Constitution. I've read it several times now, but you guys are, many of you, I'm sure, in that room, scholars of it. So please, where you see a contradiction or an issue, that's exactly where your insight and expertise is welcome as a procedure committee.
Thank you.
Yeah. So. Thank you, Sean, for your presentation. I think it's excellent, and for the work that you have done.
No. Again, I did not know about this, that there was somebody from England basically guiding them about the standing orders. What I heard from him a while ago, ladies and gentlemen, in regards to the sub judice thing, they always have this issue about, we're not going to table the report because we're not going to table this and we're not going to table that, using the sub judice. Thank you, Selena. Love you too, baby. My favorite Texan girl. Definitely my favorite Texan girl. Definitely. But shout out to the real Selena. But yeah, what I heard the gentleman speak about a while ago is that, listen, that's something for you guys. Like what I'm hearing him say is that, it's not that deep where we are. It's up to the understanding of the Constitution and also, what you guys decide on, pretty much. Hey, what's up, Nikki? Babes? You know what I mean? So, man, let me know what y'all think about that, man. Y'all probably need to go check out this entire situation. Yeah, for real. All right, so let me get into some other things right here. I was not done. As a matter of fact, it's not only was I not done, there's a multitude of things that I didn't get to catch up on. I didn't get to catch up on some things, which I must do. Yes, I have to do that. All right. Let's see what's going on here. Guess he was having a... Yeah, let me go to that. I didn't get to catch... Wow. I didn't get to catch Peter Gay live last night to the fullest. But I was watching it, but not listening. If that makes sense. She was touching on a topic that... This part, yes. I wanted to hear what she had to say about this, because this particular topic is something that I personally have not dived into. It's a very touchy topic and I'm not afraid to dive into it, but it kind of goes away from the normal things that I would usually talk about, but that's okay. It actually involves us. We bring the... He's out. Here we go. Take control. Don't miss it.
All right. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Miss Peter Gay Ferguson. I don't know if she married yet. She's super young, so I don't think she married yet. So I'm gonna go with Miss Peter Gay Ferguson. What's up, Nikki? Mwah. So Miss Peter Gay Ferguson touched on this topic right here about a British MP statements regarding reparations. I don't know how many of you guys are familiar with her statements, but let's get into what Peter Gay has to say on the topic. You know what I mean? Let's get into it.
Okay, so we are back. We are back. And in this segment, we're going to talk about something that's very touchy. Right, so now in this week's, what do I call this now? Like, is it like the issue of the week? Yeah, I'd say it is. Now, latest development over on that side of the world, right? We see where another conversation about reparations has emerged, right? And this time around, we have the former British Home Secretary and MP Suella Braverman arguing that Britain owes nothing to its former colonies, and she even suggested that the empire brought benefits through investments and development to the place them, but them go extract people in wealth. Me don't know where that matter there. She has to be a gaslighter. She has to have the greatest levels of audacity that I've ever seen in my lifetime, because ain't no way you could really come out in the public and say something like this.
He needs some milk.
Hey man, listen, straight off the bat, man, Peter Gay came out swinging. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
That statement has really generated outrage, not just across the Caribbean, but for, other countries who have experienced this. I'm sure Africa and all those other spaces, people cannot feel comfortable with this statement. And so for a moment, while I know it's very, it's such a touchy topic, we're going to separate emotions a little bit, right? And look at the facts, what it says. Now, we know that no serious reparations movement argues that nothing was built during colonialism. Nobody's debating what was built and what wasn't built. What we're simply asking, the question being asked now is very different. We're talking about who paid for it. And what we know is that much of Britain's wealth during the colonial era was built through enslaved labor, extraction of resources, and the systems that denied millions of people their freedom and humanity. And so being asked now is very different. We're talking about who paid for it. And what we know is that much of Britain's wealth during the colonial era was built through enslaved labor, extraction of resources, and the systems that denied millions of people their freedom and humanity. And so let us not forget that. And what we also know is that supporters of reparatory justice argue that the profits generated helped finance Britain's industrial development while leaving lasting social and economic consequences in many former colonies. We are still seeing some of the legacies of slavery that has been left behind, and we cannot deny its impact in the Caribbean, in Africa, and in many other spaces. We cannot deny it, right? And so those opposed often argue that today's taxpayers should not bear responsibility for historical wrongs, and that modern Britain should not be held financially liable for actions taken centuries ago. That's how some of them must say, right? But whether you support reparations or not, this debate is not going to go away, because it's there. It's in our faces. We can see it. History is there. You can't rewrite history. We know what happened, and so Jamaica is one of the countries, where we continue to pursue reparatory justice through CARICOM. And it also raises important questions about history, responsibility, and what justice looks like today, right? So we're asking, an apology is really not it. It's not going anywhere, because what is true? Taxpayers, right? It is taxpayers who had to pay back right? Those former enslavers to say that, oh, because they had stopped benefiting from slavery, they owe them. And so they had to pay them to end slavery. And that's from like what, 1834, they're about coming up to 2015. Guys, that was just the other day. A little over.
I mean, it tells you what the mindset of people were at the time. So these people that were pretty much scumbags, all of them that were enslaving people were scumbags, freeloaders, germs, the scum of the earth. Every last one of you. And if you're benefiting from that, you are sane. If your family is benefiting from that right now, and you are okay with it, you feel fine that your family grew their wealth with blood money and, you know, just the sacrifice of other people's lives and their dignity, and you walk proudly, you are a scumbag. You're an incredibly evil human being. You have no conscience. All right? You are a perfect servant of the devil, and I hold no apology. Anybody that does that, whether you're black, you're white, anybody that thinks that type of way, that's how I feel about it. You want to justify all those acts of those people at that time, you support it in any way, that's how I feel about it. All right? Now, this lady can feel however she wants to feel. As far as I'm concerned, she's exposing herself as one of those people I just described. She is a direct descendant of the thought process. Clearly. Because Britain owes a debt that it simply cannot pay, if we're being honest with you. If you were to numerically look at the lives that were lost because of that, what Britain did, they owe these people of these descendants, wherever they are in the world scattered, they owe them. No Jamaican should be paying for a visa to go to Britain. No African should be paying for a visa to go to Britain. Britain should have an open access. Whatever they built, we own. Whatever they are standing on right now, we own. It's not about we going there to take it with force. No, share the spoils. Let us have the opportunity to go to schools there. Show some humanity. You cannot do people wrong. Your ancestors cannot do people wrong, and you're benefiting off the backs of their blood money. And then you want to come and tell us, oh, we don't owe you anything. Man, listen. Boy, I don't know what you think this is. I don't know what you think this is, lady. All the blood that was spilled. Yo, man, we black people are too nice, bro. I'm telling y'all right now, we are too nice. Because if it was anybody else, do you see what the Chinese is doing? The Chinese is actively putting themselves in a position where you cannot F with them. They did not forget what happened to them. The bombs that were dropped, you think they forget? And they are everywhere like the ants now. They moved with a level of purpose. They have commanded respect from those who used to put them down like that. Because they have rose to a national level. Their entire nation united was focused on one thing. And it's still focused on one thing. If only our black people in just Jamaica alone, not even the entire Africa, if the entire Africa was to unite in a way, I'm telling you, it would be ridiculous. Everybody would have to bow and respect that entire nation. Do you know how much nations feed off of Africa? If Africa was to unite and say we're locking off the resources and keeping them within like Wakanda forever, everybody goes cook. And they know it. You see what happened to France when Burkina Faso said, no, no, no. No more freeloading. But people still support France. Mbappe on the ball and he might get that's our next topic. Mbappe on the ball and him black and he might get all sort of racist comments from people in a high places. Oh no, like I want to depend on Argentina, but I'm not talk about that right now. But it really intertwined. What's up, Raquel? It really intertwined with this argument about racism. Like we can really talk about it, you know. We can really talk about it. Don't think that we forgot. Don't think that we forgot that our ancestors stood up with so much pride that they refused to be slaves and jumped off the boat in the middle of the ocean. Don't think we forgot. And don't think we don't understand that our people know that gene, that spirit is dormant in us, almost dead. And that's why Angeles can come be like one new fear and an enslaver and don't get real pushback. Because we've been conditioned. And then you have the spiritual side of it, where people are locked down through high science and just dormant. Yeah, I don't really talk about these things, you know, but I can't really talk about it, you know. In Congo right now, they're still suffering. There's places in Africa. I mean, man, listen, bro. Boy, you know what I'm saying? We can really talk about it, bro. But I'ma chill. Let's hear Peter again. I'ma chill.
A decade ago, right? A year, just the other day, they stopped paying those enslavers reparations, are paying them for ending slavery and them losing benefits. Now, if you know anything about history and what slavery is, chattel slavery, the slavery that we experienced in the Caribbean, that our forefathers and those who have gone before us, those Africans, what we experience here is the worst form of slavery.
Facts.
Literally, people were being treated as those people's properties. You weren't seen as a human being.
Nope.
Your life meant nothing.
Nope.
All you were there to do was to work, till the soil, and they extracted all that they could from the Caribbean, all that they could from other spaces, and they took it back to their country. And what do we have today? What do we have left today? You know, and so, yeah, you have to ask the question, what is it that you've left us with in today's day and age? Why do you think
Yo, do y'all know how much money? Do you know how much wealth Britain stole from Africa, yo? That they still have now? Artifacts, minerals, gold. Their entire empire and kingdom is of African wealth and riches. Period. Or a large majority of it. Of course. You know, that's why I try to stop, because it pisses me off. Like, you know what I mean? This lady out here talking about, it's one thing for them to be quiet and not. And you know, I want to thank her for being an asshole. Yeah, because it shows us that the rest of them, as there's a lot of them still there. I want to thank her for being an asshole. Yes. What's your name? British MP rejects. I don't know what her name is. I want to thank her. Great. Thank you for showing up that there is still a lot of you here in high places. And when I say to the Jamaican people, Andrew Holness swore allegiance to the king, and he's a Privy Council member. You guys think that he is not serving their interests as a prime minister here in Jamaica? If the MP over there can think like this, what do you think the hierarchy is thinking? They don't want to let go of Jamaica. That is why the constitutional reform, they don't want to let go of the Privy Council. They don't want to cut ties completely with the British monarch. I have been saying this since I came on YouTube, and I know a lot of you don't listen to these arguments that I make because I realize you don't comment about it in the comment section. Andrew Honest went, nobody never asked him to do it, him go swear allegiance to the king. He got turned privy council member, ladies and gentlemen. Have you guys read the pledge? Andrew Honest can't hide nothing from the king, you know. Only need to go read the pledge. And then that's why it hurt me so much when people was talking about Mark Golding have 1 foot in and one foot out. Andrew Honest is the definition of having 1 foot in and 1 foot out. Andrew Honest is serving two masters that we know about. The king and Jamaica. Well, himself, because him now serve Jamaica. And then him in a bed with China, and him in a bed with the... Yo, man, listen. Y'all better wake up, man. Y'all better wake up, boy.
Oh, you nothing. And Prime Minister Mia Mottley addressed it. And I love the way she said it. And we'll have a big up shout out to Prime Minister Mia Mottley, the Prime Minister of Barbados, right? And Barbados is one of those countries where coming out of slavery, they had a more structured approach because the planter class, those enslaved people, they actually stayed there and built structures, right? They say that. But in Jamaica, for Jamaica and Haiti, it's more of an extraction type of thing that happened. So they just came here, took what they could, and they built nothing meaningful, nothing that we could look at and say, okay, here's something that you can continue with. Also, when slavery was ending, Black people did not get anything. Slaves did not have anything. So when lands were given away, when people were benefiting, the former slave people had nothing to gain. So when you talk about being in the race of life and you look at it like a 100-meter race and you say, okay, we're starting here. Literally, the planter class, the people who came here from Britain and other spaces to extract our wealth and to use our people, right? They literally left with everything that they could get and left nothing here, nothing.
And you know, these are the same people that say, oh, as Black people, you know, if you complain and rage. And Andrew Honest have that same mentality because I listen to him, you know. You remember when Mark Golding was in the parliament talking about the fact that we do not contribute to this global warming thing. And the way how the deal is structured for us to get aid or money and then we have to pay back. And man, I said, bro, these basically what I understood from what Mark Golding is saying, these people should be paying us and them cause the earth to have this global warming effect and we are facing the brunt of it. So they owe us pretty much. And Andrew Honest's stance is like, you cannot challenge these people. Who do you think you are? We cannot do that. You guys remember when he said that in the parliament and was answering Mark Golding? I'm sorry, I can't find the clip right away to play it. But I remember that moment and I said, wow, look at the so-called white man, Mark Golding, defending this country against the monarch and all those other entities that contribute to global warming and saying if they are the ones that are the largest contributors, they are the ones that are supposed to pay when these monster storms come and damage other people's economy. And Andrew Honest defended those comebacks while Mark Golding was standing up for the people of Jamaica. That is the difference between the People's National Party and the Jamaica Labour Party.
Sustainable, nothing stable. Black people had to start right at the starting line while others were benefiting. You have money, you have house, you have land, you have so many things, you have access to so many things. It was not like that for slave people. And that is a conversation as well that we might need to have for another time to discuss it at length because we're still seeing the remnants, right? And some of the effects, and we need to talk about how it affects us in different ways. But really, MPA, Braverman, I'm not sure what you were drinking on that day, which side of the bed you wake up on, why you thought that was something good enough to say. And I don't know your ethnic background, but one might have to ask, what's your ethnic background? Because maybe if you check your background, you would see that some of your people would have suffered from the hands of these people. And that might not be the best thing to say, you know? I see Maria said the planter class was known as the wealthiest people on the planet, and
No, I want to go because I am hoping that Mia Motley had put it on her Instagram. Because I follow her on Instagram, you know. I would hope that she put it there and answer this lady because I want to find it. I want to hear what she said. Ma, here she is. Let me see. Let's see if she put this. This week in St. Lucia.
Because we had cabinet all day yesterday. But
Today, I stand before you deeply honored and profoundly humbled to serve as your Commissioner of Police of this great nation. I accept this responsibility with full awareness of its weight, its
thank you very much for the question. I'm not sure that you want me to reply to things that really.
Ooh, I found it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank God I found it. Ooh, yes, Lord, you are good to me. The Lord is good to me. The Lord is so good to me. So, I want to play the response from Mia Motley. I found it, ladies and gentlemen. Listen to this.
Thank you very much for the question. I'm not sure that you want me to reply to things that really are asinine. And the conversation for reparations, just as His Majesty King Charles, when he was Prince Charles, at the opening of the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting in Rwanda, stated clearly that reparations was a conversation whose time had come. I have no doubt that there are British parliamentarians who want to distract people from the domestic politics of the United Kingdom at this point in time. But the Caribbean should not be used as a prop in those circumstances. Thank you.
Man, listen. I don't know about y'all, man, but when I hear this lady talk, I'm ready to put my boots on and go to war for her. Man, listen. I couldn't have said it any better. These people this lady got to be ignorant. All right? These people got to be ignorant. Terrence said that is the resolution that Argentina. Oh my God, here comes Terrence. Lord of mercy. Anyway, moving right along, ladies and gentlemen. Moving right along. Man, shout out to Mia Motley, man. Shout out to Mia Motley. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section. I'm telling you, the Argentina hate is real. I don't see nobody hating on England. I don't see nobody talking about, look at what the MP for the British monarch said. Let's hate on England. Lord have mercy. Y'all gotta chill, bro. Y'all really gotta chill. You know what I'm saying? Well, y'all bias is really looking crazy out here, boy. Let's not mix up the two. You heard? You got people in politics and you got the players in the sports. Lord have mercy. And I totally debunked this whole Argentina thing earlier. I'm not gonna go over that. People gonna think what they think. It's whatever, man. We got Jamaican people living in Argentina, loving it, posting videos, defending the Argentines, showing their real experiences. Listen, hey, it is what it is. Y'all can think whatever you want to think. We're gonna move right along. Let me go to what's been chopping up in the news. Let me just refresh this. Oh yes, I didn't touch on these at all. My goodness. Yeah, I didn't touch on these at all. There's so much things that pass me, man. So much things that pass me. But yeah, it's all good. Alright, so ladies and gentlemen, welcome again. It's your brother BOLO TBV. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Follow me on all those platforms you see on your screen. Donate, whatever you can do, but subscribe, hit the like button, comment, all that good stuff. BOLO TBV, BOLO VNR clips, BOLO VNR, BOLO VNR 2.0, all of my YouTube channels, subscribe. So follow me on TikTok, become a fan club member, become a super fan club member, become a member on YouTube. The super chat is available, all that good stuff. Now, ladies and gentlemen, since we got that out the way, I was not able to listen to this in Parliament. So we're going to go into it. Let's get into it.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise to speak briefly in general support of the regulations. I don't think the direction can be argued with. And ultimately, I think elements of the work being done here strike to the heart of the work that we should do to affect ordinary Jamaicans and to help them to secure a future of dignity for themselves. Mr. President, there is, however, a right to express concern with the limited level of participation of our citizens in pension plans. The truth is that low participation in saving for retirement ultimately becomes like a cancer on the society. As people get into retirement with no ability to take care of themselves, ultimately become some version of a burden on the state and the generation or generations that follow them. Right? So it's something that we should be concerned about. So I don't think it's something that we should choose to seek to explain or, to jumble in numbers, the reasons for why there isn't a growth in the number of plans or there is a reduction in the number of plans. The number of people, as quoted by my senator colleague Anderson, 174,000 is the number, and that number should concern everyone. Let's not get, conflated around the number of plans and so on as an explanation. In any case, to get to the meat of my submission here today, I want to recognize what some elements of this reform means for ordinary Jamaicans. With respect to increasing the limits by allowing for a broader range of eligible or assets to be invested in by pension funds, it creates diversification in the portfolios that our ultimate pensioners are investing in. And that's better, ultimately. There is the opportunity for stronger returns, better resilience, less concentration. If you look at how pension funds are invested in Jamaica, there are large concentrations. Most of the largest asset class is actually government of Jamaica debt. So this move will allow for greater diversification over time. And I think that matters directly for the workers and ultimately the retirees who are saving these funds. And it matters, Mr. President, for the wider country, potentially. As articulated by Senator Anderson, billions of dollars are vested in these funds. And I said it in this House before when we were debating on the fiscal debates, that there are tremendous resources here resident in Jamaica waiting to be mobilized to invest in opportunities in this country, but constrained by the state of regulations, the state of laws, many of which are vestiges of a very different Jamaica. So, these are elements of the changes here will allow for greater investments potentially by pension funds in the real economy, in housing, in infrastructure, energy, productive businesses, other long-term projects. Those benefits can extend beyond just financial returns, but ultimately potentially to jobs, right? To improve services, to stronger communities, and more sustained economic growth. That's why, I unreservedly support directionally where we're going with elements of these regulations, increasing the limit in private assets from 5% to 7.5 and ultimately to 10, therefore, is welcome.
Senator Morgan. Please, yes, but you got your opportunity and you made your point. So what goes for the goose will go for the gander, all right?
Mr. President, I have...
Yo, Mr. That you there, see, man. Yo, the man is an absolute disgrace, man. Yo, I don't know, him wake up in the morning and feel good about himself. Honestly. How embarrassing.
No qualms with supporting progress. Right? I have no qualms with supporting progress, but I'm surprised that I am being lambasted for supporting some progress. Right?
Wagwan John Sinclair, what's up? While Apache.
So, Mr. President, it's the move that I just mentioned begins to remove this long-standing restriction and restraint on the ability of pension funds to invest more in Jamaica and productive economic activity. And I wish to acknowledge, Mr. President, that these changes aren't happening in a vacuum. There has been sustained advocacy and technical engagement from the Pension Industry Association of Jamaica. That was mentioned earlier. I want to commend them. And the Jamaica Securities Dealers Association over many years, and other participants in the financial services sector who have consistently encouraged for more modern, flexible, and risk-sensitive pension investment frameworks. So, Mr. President, the reform, I think, is especially timely. Jamaica, Mr. President, is at a point where we're speaking about rebuilding and expanding critical infrastructure, increasing the supply of housing, strengthening our energy resilience, and financing other long-term priorities. And, Mr. President, I would have said here before that we need to create a framework where domestic capital can participate in this rebuilding and recovery and the creation of more capacity for resilience in our economy. And I'm happy now that the government has recognized that we need to move in this direction, and has said that this is the primary objective of the reforms. However, Mr. President, while pension funds and they manage substantial pools of capital should be well placed to participate in these opportunities, the amendment to increase the amount that pension funds can invest in private assets does not by itself change the way these assets are treated, and I'll explain. Right? And it does not by itself actually ensure that investments are going to be channeled in this direction. So there's an opportunity, Mr. President, for the government to be even more imaginative. A pension fund investment in a well-structured infrastructure or rebuilding project, for example, is still going to be placed in the same broad category as other private investments. So in other words, it's going to be placed in the same category as a private equity investment in a startup company looking to push some innovation. Those are two very different categories of risk. So you talk about creating a framework where pension fund assets can be channeled appropriately into the real economy. But there hasn't been any distinction with respect to the limits associated with the kinds of investments that better characterize what pension funds should be focused on and others. So in other words, the category of private assets appears to be a bit too broad. So while the limit increases the capacity generally, it doesn't by itself necessarily create all the flexibility that the pension fund may need to participate consistently and meaningfully in Jamaica's economy and ultimately the development agenda. And therefore, I commit, Mr. President, to this House that further reform needs to be contemplated and may well be necessary. Mr. President, I think the next step in this process should be developing a more practical and risk-aware framework that distinguishes between different categories of private assets, right, and allows for pension funds to access opportunities according to their actual characteristics and risk, rather than treating them all broadly in the same way. That would be my constructive feedback to the government. Additionally, Mr. President, I must tell you that clear regulatory guidance around this is going to be important. Trustees and investment managers should have confidence as to how these kinds of assets, these infrastructure projects, project financing investments that may be a bit new to the space, are to be accessed, how they're to be valued, how they're to be monitored, etc. Because without that kind of clarity, you may find that the pension funds have the ability to invest in these things, but they remain cautious. Right? The limit is there, but it is never used. Right? Mr. President, we should also recognize that this amendment does not at all address the long outstanding second phase of pension reform, which was mentioned on that side. Just mentioned. And what wasn't mentioned is that this thing has been going on for almost 2 decades, right, without progress forward. And Mr. President, I will say that critical elements of ensuring accessibility, ensuring consistency in relation to pension coverage, adequacy, portability that was mentioned, governance, and a wider investment framework are contained in that reform. So if we are concerned about the level of participation, and everybody should be, if we're responsible citizens and policymakers, then why haven't we taken the tangible steps to advance part 2 of the reform? The broader reform agenda has been outstanding for far too long, Mr. President. So this reform, while it is welcome, appears tactical. It appears to be appealing to a present-day need, the need for greater participation in the economy. And I'll take it, but I would commit to the government to focus as well on the structural, the longer-term underpinnings of the pension system that will allow greater participation and really safeguard our citizens into the future. Mr. President, the benefits of doing this will go well beyond the financial sector, the pension funds themselves, that seem to be rousing a lot of discussion in the House, Mr. President. Greater participation can help finance infrastructure and housing, etc. That's great. But as I said, we can't lose the broader, more important principle that it is for the people who participate. Right? So, Mr. President, I welcome the step forward, the incremental step forward with respect to the changes here in relation to the limit. Right? My other colleague has spoken to another element of the change that gives us pause on this side. But notwithstanding that fact, this signals that we're moving in the right direction. And I would encourage us to get a little bit more granular through continued collaboration with those who have advocated for this for years. And I'd also encourage us to look broader at the more holistic reform that's necessary to safeguard or to help to safeguard the future of the people of this country. If it pleases you, Mr. President.
While I might not understand all the intricacies of what he was talking about, I do understand that there's talking about the pension plan, right? And I remember listening to Miss Keisha Anderson, and she made the point that there's not a lot of Jamaicans that are secured. And what he's talking about, although the broader policy he welcomes, he's giving you scientific detail as to where needs to be tweaked for a more effective policy. And of course, Marlon Morgan, the ignorant one, has to jump up and not listen. You have to know when to read the room, and he's the person that doesn't know how to read the room. I tell you already, he don't know when to shut up. But let's get into the another clip, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get into this.
When I saw the agenda today, I said, well, I'll be able to come to the Senate and then leave quickly and go over to the Holy Trinity Cathedral for the funeral of Dr. Abby Irons. But then I realized this funeral started at 10 o'clock, so I could just watch some of it online. And the next one to be speaking in this debate. I didn't expect to, but I'm going to, because I can't go to the funeral again. So, President, I'm pleased that the issue of pension is being discussed in the Senate today. I'd have hoped that we would leave in here today saying both sides of the Senate concur on the need for pension reform as well as in support of the amendments to the regulation. I'm disappointed. One speaker from that side spoiled the party. There's some things on which both sides of the divide can find common ground. This is one of them. This is one of them. And let me say, ditto to everything that Senator Cavan Gill said. If from this sitting, the headlines become senators, trade union colleagues, support call for workers to invest in pension scheme, that would be a good thing. But it's not just Senator Gill from the DIT and Lambert Brown from the UAW. It is all the senators saying to the Jamaican people, we need to look out for old age. We need to prepare for old age. Because I can tell you, Senator Morgan, it does come around. Just look at me. It does come around. So it is clear to me that the pensions is such an important thing if our country's stability is going to be maintained. Because without money to invest long term and to transform the country, it's going to be poverty. And that is why a couple of years ago, I moved a resolution in this. I tabled a resolution about pension and about saving. Unfortunately, it fell out the other paper and we never debated it. Today is a good opportunity to raise and re-raise some of those issues. Senator Gale, people like you, Lawson Shearer, Alexander Bustamante, Michael Manley, Carlisle Dunkley, Upton Cable, the trade unionists of the past were champion of pension schemes. And most of the workplaces came to have pensions because the trade unions in our collective bargaining agreements had placed the issue of pension. A lot of it against the employer's wishes. So one of the strongest pension scheme in the country today is the cable and wireless pension scheme. There was a time, Senator Hill, when we will deal with that because that's still active. There was a time, Senator Hill, when cable and wireless had thousands of workers employed to them. That scheme is, cable and wireless probably have less than 500 employees today. But that pension scheme, built over the years, is probably one of the strongest pension schemes in the country. You want to give you a hint of one of their investment? Just open not so the Express is in New Kingston. That property there, which I just use for parking, and which bring in a whole pile of money for them,
Mario,
is part of a long-term investment. I'll tell you something about parking, Minister, because I think it's important. I had to visit your hospital, St. Thompson, Spanish Town, and I look and say, where do people park? And then I have to go to some other hospital somewhere. And I realized that in our hospitals, there's no parking. In fact, at KPH now, doctors are parking out on the road. And so investment in parking may very well be a lucrative source of income. And so, consistent with what Senator Ferguson said, opportunities do exist. And regulations that may limit it is what we need to address. So I'm proud of the role the trade unions have played. And as the workforce shrink from collective bargaining arrangement to more individualistic arrangement, we see the danger of contract work. Because contract work, one reason why they brought in contract work is to get around things like pension. And the people who get into contract work see it as a 6 months, a 3 year maximum, and don't understand that there's going to be a long-term life. And so things like the individual retirement scheme becomes important. So from this Senate today, let the call go to all Jamaican workers, to young people, of the importance of saving for a rainy day, saving for old time day, because old time day do come. Minister of Education, I grew up in an era where they had something called penny bank.
Yeah,
and I grew up in an era where the National Saving Commission,
run it now.
penny bank. So maybe, Minister, within the education system, we need to revisit the financial literacy, is, if you want to call it big word. I like those big words. But the concept of getting our kids from kindergarten, from primary school, from prep school, to start the habit of saving. Because if they start it there, it becomes easier as they grow further. So it is important that we pension in the old way may not be around. But if we look forward and encourage our kids And Senator, you know us. I know of this habit, can't talk too loud for the parents here, to try and give my grandchildren, 2-year-old, 5-year-old, and so forth, to give them some, and to say to their parents, get a bank account for them so I can put some things in it and encourage them as they grow older to save. I don't want them to be as poor as I am. I want them to be wealthy. And that comes from learning the idea. You're not. I'm allowing him to talk. He wants more time. So that... No, I can't wrap up while he's there. So I want to make it clear that saving is so important. That we get back to encouraging the children and showing workers. Because it's not an easy struggle. Senator Gale will tell you, when you go to the sugar workers, for example, and you negotiate for sugar workers, and you tell them that we want to get a pension scheme or an insurance scheme, they tell you they want the money now. And they can't afford them because things tough now. But we have to encourage people to see long term and to understand that a decade from now is not as long as you think. And having lived through many decades, I realize that decades do come and pass. So I want to encourage from this floor for people out there listening to take into account what Senator Gale said. Take into account what all the other speakers, except
not even one gifter,
Senator Morgan, and to see that we can all concur, we can all agree, we can all support the need for saving. And I can't end without saying that one thing I've learned is that government commitments are too slow in materializing. I'm talking about governments in general. Senator Ferguson spoke about 2 decades. Shoot, it's longer than that. We have been talking about government pension and that the workers must contribute, and thankfully, the unions have encouraged our members in the public sector, Senator Gale, to contribute. But the government made a commitment that they too will contribute to the pension scheme in the I hope so. But essentially, the government is supposed to contribute. But the government said, well, we will do so when certain things happen. And those things seem never likely to happen. So the type of pension scheme on phase 2 we're looking forward to is not there. And President, and that's it. This morning I thought to myself and said, Senator Brown, the cutting off of microphones.
I don't know how this thing works, but we need some gifts.
From the 32 Parliament. When Parliaments cut off speakers, it doesn't silence them.
All right, Senator,
it makes the issue bigger. So that
Senator Brown, you know. No, but Senator Brown. Hold on, man. Just take it easy, man.
Jaja.
Yes, please. Yes, man. But the road that you want to go down, we don't need. You know that you started off well by saying that. No, some of you want to go down a road, and I'm not going to facilitate that this morning. All right. So please. All right.
This resolution is limited to 2 items. But you have allowed the discussion to go wider. You did. You allowed the discussion to go wider. And that's good. That's part of democracy. As against when we raise an issue and people get up on points of order to try and limit what can be said. So that when we engage in robust discussion, especially on issues on which we can agree, there's going to be dissent. There's going to be disagreement. I had to say to somebody recently, I'm going to outsource all my speeches in the Senate to them so that they can write what they want me to say. because they want to hear what they want to hear. So as I close, I thank you for allowing the discussion not to be limited to these 2 points, but to allow the robust call of the entire Senate, bar one, for people to save and to invest so our country can be rich and prosperous. And on that, when I saw that,
Why me I tell you something, I appreciate Lambert Brown and the man. You know, him very, very crafty and skillful in how him doing things, you know. Because and that's why them don't really like the PMP in the parliament. Because they are too good of an opposition. They feel them I deal with and them know how to bring the issues them to the fore. And this conversation around pension is very, very important. If you really look into Jamaica, Jamaica doesn't have a safer later plan. Most of you them just live for right now and hey, you know, nobody not really look for live for see. Now we're not looking forward to anything. We're not looking forward to growing old and having grandchildren and none of that stuff. We're not looking forward to it. It's just the truth. It's just the mentality of the people, and it's about the environment that they're in. We don't see anything to be hopeful for. If I'm being 100% honest, in most of the cases, them you don't see it. That's why so many people is leaving Jamaica. You understand? Where other countries where you have serious pension plan, people can think about retiring and really like going on vacations every year. They can afford a certain amount of vacation because of their retirement plan. You know what I mean? You know, multiple options of investment. Here in Jamaica, everything is restricted. It's like we're still, the system itself and the governance entities don't want to bust the gate and let through the people in. We have to scrape. There's still remnants of slavery there. Keep them in check. You know, don't let them know the good life. Mighty God. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section, man. Shout out to Mr. Ray. What's his name again? Hold on. Let me sure so we get the general name right. Senator Raman Small Ferguson, yes. And Mr. Lambert Brown. Salute to them. Salute to them. Alright. I have to touch on the rest of this. Yes.
In his initial dispensation, he came in for another reason. And there are many persons like that. Some persons didn't go into nursing to care that will allow for people to feel like they are cared for less. You know, everybody's not on par with everything. So we have some nurses who maybe not so 100, you know, they operate because it's not everybody going to nursing for caring. Some going there as a professional. Okay, would have told you that in his initial dispensation, he came in for another reason. And there are many persons like that. Some persons didn't go into nursing to care. They went in, get the little experience, move foreign or another area. Because persons, we have nurses who go into things like sales rep for drug agencies and so on. So you get the experience and you know how the things work and then you move on. But sometimes when persons complain about the care, what did they offer to us? Our patients can be very disrespectful. And they come with a preconceived idea. A patient walks into an A&E department that has 100 people before them, and they want to be cared for now. A patient is sitting in an A&E, and that is why the A&E departments are moving away from general patients. They will be in the A&E for a back pain they had 3 weeks ago. A motor vehicle accident takes place in a bus and 5 children come in. You are no longer priority. The priority now becomes the persons who are injured and needs to be assisted. And then complain and say, oh, we don't care. We don't care. We cannot look at you. You are no longer a priority. Customer service would have said to you, you will now have an extended waiting period because they don't want to hear that.
So there are two sides to the coin.
Exactly. And I always say, sir, the Ministry of Health and Wellness has a complaints mechanism in place. And I always say, if the internal customer was to complain about the external customer, they would have too much work to do. We are physically, we are mentally, we are not going to even talk about verbally abuse. If I ever tell you some things that people who say them sick tell me, yes, very abusive, and not to mention the relatives. So when we talk about the care has to be both ways.
But isn't there a sense, though, that as professionals, the behavior of the patient, even excessive behavior, of the misbehavior, if you want to call it that, of the unreasonable behavior of the patient, is built into your professional training?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And we cope. We have those that when you talk to them, they come right down. But there are some who you can't talk to. Because if you are not, remember, if your head hurting is, your head hurting is. You don't business if her belly dropping out. You only know that is your head hurting.
So as a professional, you are trained, or should be trained, to be able to absorb the unregulated behavior.
Some of it you can absorb, sir. Remember that we are coming from society.
But at the end of the day, you're all human.
Coming from society.
So there's a threshold.
We are coming from,
and
sometimes people walk away. Sometimes you ask your colleague because we walk with it, And that's why I tell you, we don't complain. Because sometimes the person might look at you and you look like somebody who did trigger them. That is what they come to us, You see, if you have a mother, hey, girl, and that's the style, you don't know them from birth. So sometimes you have to take yourself out of the equation and put another nurse in there who they might relate to.
I'm not telling no lie. Andrew has asked a good question because you have to be professional. You understand? Well, you don't have to be, but you should. If you can't take a nursing work, come out of it's a part of the job. You can't cross certain lines and you're going to get fired. If you cannot take it, leave. Period. It sounds harsh, but it is what it is, man. It is what it is. It come like, it's not everybody built for hospitality work. Because you're going to face all type of different personalities. You have to be an expert at dealing with multiple personalities. And there's multiple ways to deal with multiple situations effectively. But this lady sound like she want fire mama and she will just cuss out somebody. You're a respiratory therapist in the ER. Yeah, I mean, professionalism is what it boils down to. You're just not fit for that job. You have to remember, say you're there at work. Caring for the patient is what, And if somebody get out of hand, that's why you need, like, security in the hospitals there. Nurse security, where can really restrain people. Inject them with something and calm them down. Not anything lethal, but if they might get out of hand, yeah, chill out, man. Not to hurt them, obviously. That's not the goal, but if it's a circumstance, they need that. They need that. But some of these nurses in Jamaica, then, respectfully, they are not built for that job. Some of them. They're really not there. And it goes back to what she said. They are not there for the purposes of being a nurse. It's a stepping stone. So they come with the attitude and they come over, man, I don't really want to be a nurse. I'm just here to get this experience so I can move on. Not realizing that you're the one that made this commitment and this is a part of the job. Crazy.
So are you saying that the Mary C. Cole nurse is no longer possible in
The Mary C. Cole nurse is in Jamaica. See us here. Well, even a Mary C. Cole,
Jestfully, I raise a question as to whether or not the Mary C. Cole typology of nursing exists anymore.
We have Mary C. Cole Day.
Of course, and I was reassured that all.
So who is Mary C. Cole? Is she like a standard of nurse? Mary C. Cole. Cole. Nurse. Oh, Mary C. Cole. Interesting. Mary C. Cole was a Jamaican nurse and businesswoman. She was famous for her nursing work during the Crimean War and for publishing the first autobiography written by a woman of African descent in Britain. C. Cole was born in Kingston, Jamaica, to a Creole mother who ran a boarding house and has had herbalist skills as a doctress. In 1990, C. Cole was awarded the Jamaican Order of Merit. In 2004, she was voted the greatest Black Briton in a survey conducted in 2003 by the Black Heritage website Every Generation. C. Cole went to the Crimean War in 1855 with the plan of setting up the British Hotel as a mess stable and comfortable quarters for sick and convalescent officers. However, Chef Alexis Sower told her that officers did not need overnight accommodation, so she instead made it into a restaurant, bar, and catering service. It proved to be very popular, and she and her business partners, a relative of her late husband, did well on it until the end of the war. Her 1857 memoir, Adventure of Mrs. C. Cole in Many Lands, includes 3 chapters of the food she served and the encounters she had with officers, some of them high-ranking and including the commander of Turkish forces. Mrs. C. Cole missed the first 3 major battles of the war, and she was busy in London attending to her gold investment. She had arrived from Panama, where she had provided services for prospectors going overland to and from the California Gold Rush. She gave assistance at battlefield on 3 later battles, going out to attend to the fallen after serving wine and sandwiches to spectators. Oh, how you doing, Blue Magazine? Good night, good night, good night. Bless up to everybody upon the live. Boy, my side, sometimes I go see a battle and take it, So when I have to ready to tap up the screen and, drop some gift, And I can't let me down. It helped the TikTok. Alright? It helped the TikTok, so just do the right thing for me. Let me hear them myself. I want to finish our myself.
All the nurses here bear the spirit. All the nurses bear the spirit of Mary C. Cole, someone who is going out of their way to help the patient, which essentially says that you are caring even when it is to your discomfort. You understand human suffering and you're patient with your patients. But in today's circumstances, where resources are limited, the ethos of the society may be different, where the number of persons seeking care has increased and expectations of the population are far higher than what the resources can deliver. It does lead to a confrontational situation in waiting rooms and in clinics and hospitals, particularly as it relates to waiting time and the speedy delivery of services. But it is important that the average Jamaican is reassured that when they do come to the healthcare system, it is for health, to get medicine, treatment, and recuperate, but it is also for empathy, for the care, and that the care is not absent from healthcare. And the reaffirmation of this principle here is very important. On the other side of the coin, there is without question, and having had fruitful discussions a while ago, that there are changes that are still needed, both from a human resource management point of view, an administrative point of view, but also from investment in capital point of view. And there are some critical capital projects that the government is investing in. The thought process behind the capital investments is that if we see capital as forming the kind of boundaries within which healthcare takes place. So the hospital is a capital investment, and it limits the number of beds you can have, the comfort of your waiting room, the equipment that you have. And our view is that if we rapidly build out the capital side of health, it will have an impact on the care side of health. So a nicer waiting area may reduce frustration. More equipment for diagnosis reduces waiting time. I've been to some hospital facilities, and I could understand why people are frustrated. It's hot, it's crowded, and it's problematic. So if we invest in the capital side of things, which we have, now capital investment is always a complicated undertaking, and we would have seen that in the Cornwall regional situation, where a facility that is almost 60 years old would not have had any form of major rehabilitation. We face a choice. We could either knock down the building and build up a brand new one, or rehabilitate the one that is there. Rehabilitating the one that is there, you have to be, giving service in it while at the same time trying to improve it, and that has had its own challenges. We're not going to do that again. So, for example, you will see in Spanish Town, we weren't seeking to rehabilitate what is there. We're building a brand new wing.
Hold on. I went to say a while ago. Excuse you, I'm for Cornwall Regional Hospital. Merle, what's up? What? This man, wait a minute. Hold up.
The capital side of things, which we have. Now, capital investment is always a complicated undertaking. And we would have seen that in the Cornwall regional situation, where a facility that is almost 6 years old would not have had any form of major rehabilitation. We face a choice. We could either knock down the building and build up a brand new one, or rehabilitate the one that is there. Rehabilitating the one that is there, you have to be, giving service in it while at the same time trying to improve it, and that has had its own challenges.
So then waste the money. He's admitting that they wasted the money. Mark Golding told them, brother, build one new hospital. Mark Golding told them, we need to click this up. We need to click this up. Wow, this is interesting. This man is deadly, bro. I am not even, this man is different, ladies and gentlemen. He's different. I'm telling you, this dude is off the chain. He's off the chain. The man is off the chain, ladies and gentlemen. Okay.
Almost 60 years old would not have had any form of major rehabilitation, waiting room, equipment that you have. And our view is that if we rapidly build out the capital side of health, it will have an impact on the care side of health. So a nicer waiting area may reduce frustration. More equipment for diagnosis reduces waiting time. I've been to some hospital facilities, and I could understand why people are frustrated. It's hot, it's crowded, and it's problematic. So if we invest in the capital side of things, which we have, now capital investment is always a complicated undertaking, and we would have seen that in the Cornwall regional situation, where a facility that is almost 60 years old would not have had any form of major rehabilitation. We face a choice. We could either knock down the building and build up a brand new one, or rehabilitate the one that is there. Rehabilitating the one that is there, you have to be, giving service in it while at the same time trying to improve it, and that has had its own challenges. We're not going to do that again. So, for example, you will see in Spanish Town, we weren't seeking to rehabilitate what is there. We're building a brand new wing, and for KPH, We have also decided we're not going to try and rehabilitate what is there. We're going to build a brand new facility. And the objective, and that's going to be over time, but once you have a brand new facility, you can move services out of the old facilities, and then you can really take your time to either demolish or properly rehabilitate. And in the last 10 years, the capital budget for health has been significant. Huge capital budget for health in terms of what we have spent on rehabilitating facilities, particularly primary care facilities, new hospitals, new equipment. There's no question, if you compare the last 10 years versus the previous 10 years before that, the capital budget would be multiple times what we have spent. We have also spent on improving the remuneration of nurses. Now, I'm not going to get into that argument as to whether or not it is enough or whatever. I mean, the fact is that it has substantially improved. There's still more to do in that regard. So I want to give you the reassurance that the government that you have is a caring government, a listening government. But we're also, we like to think that we are very studied in what we do, so we don't just make emotional responses. There are a lot of things that we could respond to emotionally, but at the end of the day, it doesn't work out logically. And so we try to be respectful of the emotional things and bring people to the logical understanding of how things would have to be. So I'm not going to be here promising you that I can do all kinds of things that I can't do, right? But at least I understand where you want to go, and then we can work out a realistic plan as to how we're going to get there. And I always value my interactions with the nurses, aside from my own bias, in terms of just totally admiring how the nurses conduct themselves and the work that they do. But the dialogue that we've had have certainly worked to kind of influence policy from behind the scenes. So again, it's my pleasure, and congratulations to the nurses who participated.
People, man, I left it right there. So they want to hear the rest of that. But the lady did already, come to listen to the first part of it, and the lady did already put him in, drop the bombshell upon him. This was on Joanna's page on YouTube. That's why I couldn't find it. I was looking for it, but big up Annie Isabella was met to the nurses, and the lady was pretty blunt and pretty, strong with him about what is going on. I have to say, Jonas is very skillful at what he does, Yeah, man, he's skilled, man. He know how to paint a picture. But you see when you already figure out who he is, he cannot use that power on you anymore. If you're still like me, once we realize where he is, it's over with. You've been exposed, son. There's nothing you can tell me after that. There's no second chances, fam. To no politician. It's either you live by your word or it's not your word. You can't tell me from 2015 say this government is gonna bring the big companies and we're gonna make sure electricity is very, very cheap, ladies and gentlemen, unlike the People's National Party. Hallelujah. You go on with yourself, and then 10 years later, electricity has been high ever since and rising, not going down. After a term, you have no more chance with me. 2 terms? Impossible. Impossible. But these people jump up 1 p.m. like them at eat that. Listen, y'all are some real fools out there talking about 1 p.m. I'm letting y'all know straight up. I'm not saying, man, I'm not hiding that, but y'all are idiots, bro. This man has exposed himself so many times, lied to the people so many times. There's no way he could get a second chance with me as a leader. Hey, no more chances, son. I'm done. It's a done, you heard? Done. Let me just screenshot this, because I don't have a picture of this lady. It's gonna come in handy when I do my thumbnail. You know what I mean? Capture that. Oh, by the way, yes, I need a screenshot with her. Yeah, this is cute. No, I don't want her to close her eyes. Right there. That's it right there. That's a cute look right there. Screenshot. I like how the screenshot them different now. We can just, it's way more professional. We can just adjust it to what we want it to be. Capture exactly the frame I want to capture. Salute to the screenshot. Salute to the screen record. We out here. We out here, ladies and gentlemen. We out here. Yeah. All right. So, yeah, I'm not gonna be too late with it. I'm glad I got out early so I could do it, and I've done it, and now I gotta go. 2 hours on the money. Appreciate each and every one of y'all for coming through and showing love. For everybody on TikTok, thank you for the likes, thank you for the gifts. Not so much, some people gave some gifts, but thank you for the likes. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, TikTok. Go over there, explore my videos. The link is in the bio. The live streams, the videos, the shorts, go to my YouTube channel. The link is in my bio. Subscribe, click the notification bell, and click all. Come over to YouTube, TikTok. Come over to YouTube. You heard? That is it. I'm out. Peace. YouTube, look more. TikTok, look more.